And from different parts of Kenya, a live studio audience is about to shoot unscripted questions. This is Agenda Kenya with Jason Nyantino.
On Agenda Kenya tonight, Honorable Dr. William Mutunga, Chief Justice, Republic of Kenya, and Gladys Sholei, Chief Registrar of the Judicial. Many thanks for joining us. Welcome to this very first edition of Agenda Kenya in this fifth series. And tonight on the show, we are looking at the judiciary and we're finding out, is this institution ready now to deliver justice to all Kenyans? I got a fantastic audience coming in from Kisumu County, Nyandarua County, and of course, Nairobi County. Welcome aboard. Honorable Mutunga, just to start us off, since you took over as the Chief Justice, roughly, or in a catalog, can you just tell us some of the major things that you've done as a new Chief Justice?
The major things?
Major things, yes.
Let me start by saying that when we talk about the judiciary reform agenda, it's inspired by and anchored on the Constitution, which Kenyans fought for and which they overwhelmingly voted for. So that has been the basis of our reforms. And so if I can highlight some of them, Kenyans have talked a lot about backlog of cases.
Yes.
We've hit the ground running on that one.
What are you doing about it?
Well, first of all, the root causes of backlog was one, personnel. So we've hired judges. We have doubled the number of judges in the High Court and the Court of Appeal. Doubled the number of magistrates. We are hiring judicial clerks and judicial research associates for judges. We are also computerizing. There's a lot of work on ICT.
Yes.
Just to make sure that judges don't have to write in longhand, which is creating a lot of arthritis and other stuff. So,
by the way, what is the practice the world over? If we have to prevent our judges from writing, what is the option? Is it shorthand? How do they?
Oh, various. What we are doing in terms of ICT, it's a lot of inventions. There are actually pens that can record what you write.
Mm-hmm.
There is software on voice, so that judges don't have to write. And then there's the whole issue of recording, whether it's audio or video.
That's on backlog. Any
Yes.
other things that you're doing as a new CJ?
I think we're also restoring the independence of the judiciary, which is also anchored on the Constitution. We are guarding that jealously. I think that's, and there is evidence that we've done that. We've dealt with issues of corruption. In various ways.
How are you tackling corruption, especially because that concerns us a lot?
Yeah, it concerns Kenyans. The corruption in the judiciary is at various levels. A lot of people, a lot of Kenyans.
Just give us an overview quickly, because I know some questions will arise on that.
The overview is that you got to know the levels where the corruption is. Judges hawk decisions, the clerks hide files, the private sectors, bribes judges and magistrates. The advocates do it. Kenyans do it. So we, in the judiciary, we just trying to make sure that files don't disappear. People at all levels, and make sure that where we've identified corrupt practices, we are putting an end to them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Gladys. From where you sit, But then, what's your main job description? What does a registrar of the judiciary actually do?
I'm the administrative support head of the judiciary. So you'll find that as the judges have to hear cases, they've got to have some sort of professional judicial administration support. The CJ talks about ICT recording, who will manage that, who will store that. So the administrative arm is the one supposed to ensure that we have servers to store that information, that we have database managers to be able to store that information and available to judicial officers that is required, manage the human resources, fiscal management, the budgeting,
so are you
the
planning. One who's
planning.
going to send our judges to computer school?
Yes.
One of these fine days.
When the decision has been made by the judicial officers that they need to have to be trained in ICT, for example, in terms of preparing the schedule, in terms of who goes for training on which day, which places they go to undertake the training, even the equipment that they require in order to undertake the training, that would be provided by the administrative arm.
How long have you been in the judiciary?
I came in fact, later than the Chief Justice in September.
September last year.
Yes, end of September last year.
What is that one thing that you will point out and say, this is my brainchild in the judiciary?
I'm still new, so I cannot talk about my brainchild.
Okay.
I'm fairly new, but we've all come in with experiences that the judiciary would require, and which is, for example, employing technology, and most importantly, professionalizing the administration of the judiciary. Okay. Hospital doctors see the patients, but they have administrators to run the hospital. So I'm similar to that in my team for the sake of the judiciary.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Let's roll up our sleeves now for tonight's debate. Tony Ndolo, you're up next with your first question of the evening. Tony, where are you?
I'm Tony Ndolo from Kitui County.
Oh, from my county.
Yeah.
Oh, that's your county.
My question to the Chief Justice. Are our courts abusing the independence of the judiciary by issuing injunctions on almost every aspect of national importance? For example, the Nancy Baraza case and the setting up of the tribunal to vet the judges.
All right, thank you. Tony, your take.
I'm sorry, Tony, although you come from my county, I can't answer that question. Any question that is pending in any of the courts, for me, will be, inappropriate to answer, because those cases might end up in the Supreme Court, where I'm the president, and they might embarrass me. So I hope you understand why I can't answer that question.
But looking at, I know you comment on this recently, but on a general account, I think probably we need to educate Kenyans also so that they understand where courts are also coming from. So as the Honorable CJ, I know you've touched on that, but a little more. I mean, when a court delivers a ruling, how should we understand it? Do we then take it on as the gospel truth that the court has spoken? So that is the end of the story.
Yeah. So that makes it general, which is fine with me. Okay. First of all, let's get the principles right. Judges are human beings, and they can make mistakes. And I think what Kenyans are doing is to tell the judges that you've decided, but we think this decision is not just, right? And I think that is your constitutional responsibility, where you pressurize judges to basically say there's a distinction between implementing or applying the law and the justice, because those are different. We think you've made this decision. We think it's not just. And I think that's within the rights of Kenyans to do it. But it's also important to know that when we talk about the rule of law, we talk about independence of the judiciary, it's respecting that decision. You can't, however you feel about that particular decision, compare it to a toilet paper, as somebody did, or basically say you are not going to obey it. Because if we go that way, then, there's no rule of law. And that's why I've been saying people should appeal, people should
Because there are
move.
avenues.
There are avenues to challenge it. In fact, I think a lot of judges, when they make mistakes, they are itching to, to correct. So
I hope so.
Yeah, that's the time, somebody can go to court and say, review this.
Related to that, Honorable Chief Justice, I think there was a ruling, the Court of Appeal has stopped vetting of judges. I think that one has already, I think we can talk about it because the ruling has been given. The vetting of judges has been stopped.
Yeah, for 21 days.
Yet we expect that this process, because it goes in tandem with so many other things, the elections date is pegged there. What do you think about this?
Yeah, I think my view is that the lawyers involved in it, those who feel this is not just, should appeal.
They should appeal.
Yeah, appeal against it. And,
so the next level definitely will be the Supreme Court.
Yes. Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Gladys, rulings generally. I don't know whether you can comment a little bit about the rulings that have come in lately.
I think it's not my place to comment on issues relating to rulings. Like I said, as you see myself and the Chief Justice here, the Chief Justice really is the judicial head. I mean, giving direction in terms of jurisprudence, the way cases are heard, and so on. The Office of the Chief Registrar deals with administrative years and giving support so that if they want to hear cases faster, and it requires technology to be employed for them to hear the cases faster, we'll do that. The issue relating to recording of proceedings, if they need to do that, we'd produce that. What we would say is that they would, the kind of support we would give in terms of the rulings to make them have better rulings is, one, improve the process of training of the judges, make sure that they have legal researchers that are available to support them in making sure that their decisions are well researched and that they get on their hands every reading material or resource material that they could possibly get. And so that's as far as, but also most importantly, that those rulings do come out, in fact, in time and quickly. Yeah. So, and then the debate, of course, as to whether they were right or wrong, that's up to the public.
That's a different story altogether. Yes. Thank you very much. We must take a break now. But before we do that, if you are watching us from home and you have an issue with the judiciary, you want to communicate directly with the judiciary, there are contacts on your screen, the email address we are running, and we're going to run it throughout the show so that you can email directly with the judiciary or to the judiciary. We are back in a moment. Welcome back to Agenda Kenya with me, Jason Nyantino. Tonight on the show, we are looking at judicial reforms, and we want to know if the judiciary is ready to deliver justice to all of us. Our next question of the evening is from Lewis Njenga, who is a counselor. Lewis, your question, please.
My question goes to the CJ, and I would like to know the judicial plans to bring the services closer to the people. For example, like where I hail is Nyandarua County, and for us to have justice or judicial services, we have to cross from one county to another. From Nyandarua, we go to either Nakuru County or either to Laikipia. That's why we have judicial services. And I was asking myself, is this fair? Because we are getting out of our county to another county to get judicial services.
Thank you. Bwana CJ.
Our plan is to have a high court in every county. And there will obviously be a magistrate's court in that county. But in Nyandarua, you should count yourself very lucky because just imagine the people in Wajir and Mandera and the other places.
CJ, how lucky is he if he has to cross to Laikipia?
Well, but I'm basically saying that I get these requests every day. People in Thika saying that they want a high court when actually Wajir doesn't have, and other marginalized areas. So I was just reminding Louis that we also, as we look at the counties, we have to start with the marginalized counties. The counties that the World Bank says are not, what's the word? They are not viable in terms of administering justice.
But you want to make them viable.
We want to make them viable. The other thing I keep on mentioning all the time is that even in Nyandarua, there are other forms of justice. Instead of crossing to Laikipia and Nakuru, let's use, our families, let's use our elders, let's use
traditional justice systems.
Yeah, use the churches, use the mosques, because it's utterly foolish to tell people that you meet them in court. It's very expensive and it's adversarial. So I think we need to also look back and know that access to justice is not just accessing the courts, all right? And that justice is not just about law. You can have those elders who can actually arbitrate and they give you better justice.
Bwana CJ, out of the 47 counties so far, how many have got high courts?
17.
Have high courts?
Yeah.
So a huge percentage does actually not have a high court.
That's right, because we still have to come up with 30.
Do we have any timeline we are looking at?
Yes, it's a part of our reforms. Actually touch on those issues. We have some.
Have we opened any in
Garissa.
the far-flung area? Garissa.
Garissa is now
You mean
open.
Garissa never had a high court?
The North Frontier District did not have a high court, and
So
they
what
don't have
do
many.
those citizens do when they need a high court? They fly to Nairobi, probably?
Well, a lot of them came to Meru, Nairobi, Machakos, and other places. So we have one there, and the idea is to have one in Wajir, Mandera, and we have a roadmap for it. But as I said, we're also looking at issues of marginalization as well.
All right, Gladys, when the CJ talks about rolling out high courts in 47 counties, administratively speaking, do we have these resources?
Yes, we do, and you'll see that the Judicial Service Act actually does provide that one of the duties and responsibilities of the Office of the Chief Registrar is to perform efficient devolution of courts, high court stations throughout the counties. And you will see that once that is indicated in the Judicial Service Act, it means that we can now prepare a budget for the rollout program. And normally, as you prepare a budget, we've got to make sure that it's justified, and therefore we would look at, you can tell the population, where the population is, the number of cases that emanate from there, so that those with the highest number of cases and the highest number of referrals to the next town would be the first in priority in getting a high court. So you'll see that, and that's the roadmap that the Chief Justice is talking about, so that we can say that we'll roll it out. I'd be interested to know, Nyandarua is in which county? Nyandarua is in which county?
Nyandarua is a county, actually.
Nyandarua is a county.
It's Nyahururu. I think Nyahururu is the headquarter, isn't it?
Yes.
What is the headquarter of Nyandarua?
It's based in all Kalau. Nyahururu, it's in Laikipia.
Nyahururu is in Laikipia?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's all Kalau.
Yeah.
But there is a magistrate's court there?
Yes.
In all Kalau. Is there a magistrate's court in all Kalau?
I doubt.
There is actually a magistrate's court at every county. Remember, these were the former districts.
Yes.
So they already all have a magistrate's court. What they do not have is a high court station. And the way the expansion was always done was when the cases reach such point that there are so many and require a high court, then a high court would be put in.
Okay.
Yes.
Let me understand. When you pitch tent in Garissa, now you say we want to put up a high court. I mean, I want us to understand from a layman's point of view. Must you have a building, or can a court sit under a tree? Can I understand this?
I mean, a court can sit under a tree and to still be a court, provided it has a judicial officer, the manner in which the proceedings are taken, and the law that is applied makes it really a court. Huh? But of course, it's better in terms to actually have a physical building, because there is certain documentation that needs to be stored. There is certain, it's more comfortable for people to sit. So you'll find that the judiciary, that's why it has, and you'll see that part of the reform program includes development of infrastructure in these places, because that gives the court permanency.
All right, thank you, ladies. I need to hear from my audience. I start from my left. The gentleman on the second row, please. Your name and your question or comment.
My name is Benson Moirore from Nyandarua County. Benson Moirore. Just put across some information that Nyandarua County does not have even a magistrate court. What happens is that Nyahururu town is in Laikipia as per the boundaries. But as termed to the issues of the magistrate court, basically it is in Laikipia County. So Nyandarua County does not have a magistrate court. The one that existed there before was somewhere known as Tulaga, but actually it is not existing to date. So as we talk that maybe Nyandarua County is termed like it has a magistrate court, it's not. It does not have. There is no court that exists in Nyandarua County.
Thank you for that feedback, very important feedback. Your message has reached. You don't need to talk to any other person.
Blame those who create these boundaries as well.
Yes. We will come back for more responses. My next, there was a hand here. The gentleman in the middle, the hand in the middle.
My name is Daniel, and I come from Nairobi County, Kibera. And I have a comment, and then I'll ask the two panelists a question. When you are devolving justice, the way you said that it's not only building infrastructure, but even devolving the justice system. And now, if really in the morning today we're hearing the number of gender-based violence, that will give us an example, has increased and is going up. And this means that the justice will not get devolved to the number of victims that are getting concerned. Is it a viable methods of devolving justice as opposed to even giving people infrastructure that is concerned? Which should we deal with the first one? You deal with the cases that are rising due to the number of injustices that is occurring, or do we get to Kenyans information that we're building a very high justice system with infrastructure? Which is the best way?
You made your point. Thank you. One last one. Yeah, in front here. The gentleman at tie. Your name, please.
Josiah Adiema from Kisumu County. The question takes me back to what the CJ said. He said that, and I quote, we are hiring judges, but we have a situation whereby the vetting system has been stopped. So to what end do these expansion projects come to conclusion when the very same intent of having them has been stopped by the very same court system that we are talking about?
All right, thank you.
So court is contradicting court.
Thank you. You want to take first question? Some of them. Yes, we can start with Benson, the Nyandarua, which I think we have partially addressed.
Yeah, I think we've
addressed that.
We've addressed that. We didn't.
We did.
That Laikipia has Nyanyuki law courts and Nyahururu.
So I hope you have it in your record that there's no much.
Yes, I've indicated that.
All right,
yes.
all right. Our friend from
I
Kibera.
didn't understand, Daniel's question. Was it that we should be focusing more on justice issues, and justice issues are beyond the law? If you're talking about Kibera, are you saying that the focus should be actually on poverty eradication, for example?
Now that we have the courts,
yes,
and there's a lot of injustice that are taking place.
Yes.
How we have the capacity to build now and go to the villages and have the village held that are devolving justice to the people, as opposed to allowing them to still go back to the courts. Remember, we have the backlog still.
Yes.
Yeah. Where do we have the capacity? What do we do now?
I think that's why the Constitution has specifically provided for these alternative forms of dispute resolution, because quite wisely, the courts can't handle all disputes. There should be other ways of handling those particular disputes. And it's there in the Constitution, and I think it's for the courts to implement that constitutional provision, you know, where necessary. As I said, if you come to court and you're suing your brother, we can send you back to the elders. They send you back to your church or to your shrine. Tell you sort it out.
Thank you very much. Gladys, you want to respond to any of this?
Yes, I think just to follow up on the question of the issue relating to gender-based violence, there is some research going on which the judiciary is going to be provided with that data, which shows that the number of victims of gender-based violence is not commensurate with the number of cases for gender-based violence within the court system. So it means that the victims don't actually come to the court system.
So the cases are higher, the incidences
are higher than the actual cases brought before the court. And we are beginning to look at that to say, what is it that makes people not come to court? And basic things as simple as what we say when the CJ talks about access. He's also talking about when a victim comes and has to wait in the same corridor as the perpetrator of the violence, they're not going to come to court. So we have to think, as we develop our courts, we must make sure that we have separate places so that the victim doesn't have to be seen or come near the perpetrator. That improves the access. And so you'll see that includes some of the administrative issues that need to be looked at in order to improve people coming access to justice itself. Okay. Yes.
Any other question? There was a question about hiring of judges from Josiah and Kisumu. We know there's an injunction, and you're telling us on this show that we're going to hire judges, What if the court finally says, anyway, this thing is illegal?
What, hiring of judges?
Yeah.
No.
What if it says that?
No, the vetting of judges applies to judges who are serving when the Constitution was promulgated, 2010. I'm not being vetted. The DCJ is not being vetted. The new 28 judges that we've hired are not being vetted. It's those who are serving on the 27th of October, 2010. And I think that I can hear what people are saying, you know, why are courts blocking vetting when, you know, they should allow it to go on. And that is the view of Kenyans expressed in the Constitution. They initially wanted the entire judiciary sent home. Vetting was a compromise, you know, and we know that. But once people go to court, the judges have to make decisions on the basis of the law. And that's what has happened here.
Very quickly, Honorable CJ, can you comment about the Bungoma case? Because the lawyers have been on strike for several months now. And the other day there was a demo against you, actually.
Yes, that's...
Can you quickly tell us what the problem is? Do they now have a judge?
No. The Bungoma issue is this. The truth about the Bungoma issue is this. They came to see me and they said they want a second judge. And there are many stations that also want 2 or more judges. And I told them they have to wait until we recruit more judges. In the process, I promised them a chief magistrate, and the chief magistrate has been sent to Bungoma.
Sorry, I'll cut you short. I'll come back to you after the break. We need to take a break, but before we do that, your thoughts to this question. Do you think the judiciary has capacity to deliver justice to all Kenyans? Use the contacts on your screen, 8898. Give us your name and where you're watching us from. And in case you want to get in touch directly to the judiciary, please use the email addresses that are running throughout this program. We are back in a moment. Welcome back to Agenda Kenya with me, Jason Nyantino. Tonight we are looking at the judiciary and we're asking, is it on course to delivering justice to all Kenyans? Honorable Chief Justice, you were talking about the Bungoma case. Could you please proceed?
Yeah, I was saying that the lawyers in Bungoma are on strike because they want a second judge. There is already one judge there. And I've made it very clear to them that there isn't an extra judge for them until we hire judges. In fact, the number of judges was always capped.
So the main reason is because of the High Court, I mean the court ruling, stopping the vetting?
No, it has nothing to do with it. The Bungoma issue started about 4 months.
So why don't you then just hire a judge?
That's what we are doing. But the point I'm making about Bungoma is that the lawyers are not allowing the judge who is there to do his work. They have barricaded the courts. People can't access the courts.
They should be arrested. They have not been arrested.
No, they haven't been arrested. You know,
you need to give orders, Bwana CJ. Oh, that's not your role.
No, I thought that we could negotiate and they will see sense in the fact that the judge who is there can still work until another one joins him. But they've paralyzed the courts and, you know, the demonstrations are going on. And my view is that they are the ones who are to blame for inaccessibility to justice. It's not,
that sounds very disturbing because if a whole bunch of professionals can block justice, and that is impunity. What is the judiciary doing about it?
Well, we could have, you know, filed complaints, you know, against them, but the law society has been dealing with the issue, and we had to let them deal with that particular issue. It's been very painful for us because the prisoners can't be taken to court. We have had to move them to Eldoret. And the courts are not just for the clients of those lawyers. The courts are public places. And if you block them, you block everybody from going to those courts, it's criminal.
So we hope that matter will be sorted very soon.
Yes, I think so.
I'll take my next question of the evening from Tim Dagori. Tim is a law student.
I would like to pose my question to both the Chief Justice and the Chief Registrar. What are you doing to implement current ICT trends in the judiciary? And this includes maybe stenographers in the courtrooms, tech-savvy judges, both the judges and the clerks.
All right, I think Gladys, that comes straight to you.
Yeah.
ICT, judicial.
I mean, ICT it's imperative that we employ technology in the judiciary, and that has even been recognized by the new Judicial Service Act. Actually requires that the judiciary shall apply technology in judicial operations. At the moment, there's an evaluation going on in order to design the best solutions that can help in the administration of justice, because the technology has to help faster dispensation of justice. It has to improve access to justice. It's got to make judges be able to hear cases faster and make the court processes much faster. And so that's being evaluated, and it's definitely, when the Chief Justice will launch the transformation program sometime next month, you will see that there will be a big agenda and activity plan over a period of 5 years to harness technology for that purpose.
If, Gladys, that's beautiful. I mean, that sounds quite beautiful, but do you have the funds to do this? What if you don't get enough funds from the exchequer?
Actually, employment of technology in the judiciary has never been impossible because of lack of funds. It's just been lack of the goodwill to employ the correct technology. If you look at some of the work that was done in the past years, it cost millions of shillings. But the result was not felt because we probably did solutions just for the sake of that solution, but not for the purpose of it being felt and for the purpose of dispensation of justice. So we've never lacked funds.
So you're hopeful there'll be money?
Yes, the money is available. The money is in fact available. Okay. What we haven't had is the ideas and the goodwill to actually undertake the action to actually do the job.
All right, related to your job, there's been this chronic problem about judiciary and files getting lost. I mean, I'm sure that line is very familiar to you. Are we still expecting, are we still having this problem of files getting lost?
Okay, dealing with of course, yes, the problem of files missing is the chronic problem. It has lasted for years in the judiciary.
So it's still there?
It's still there, but we are putting in systems to counter that. One, there is the office of the ombudsperson in the office of the Chief Justice. If you're told your file is lost, you must send a letter or a message to the office of the ombudsperson saying, I've been gone to the courts, I've been told that file number this is missing. We realize that once we prompt and they know that we are looking for the file, and they're actually given less than 10 hours to find the file. That is actually the instructions from the office of the CJ.
By the
That's
way,
one method.
Gladys, sorry, who takes care of this file? It sounds so strange that...
Actually...
So tell us, please, how does the code look like? Where is this file kept? Is it under the table? Where is it?
I'll make a confession. Files don't get lost. It's our own officers who steal the files and hide them.
Arrest them.
That's it. And you know who colludes with them? The lawyers. Some of the other litigants are the ones who collude with them. But we can employ technology to prevent that.
So there is a system.
Yes.
If I come to court A, court B, there is an officer whose responsibility is to keep the file.
There is a head of the registry. So that's why if you say the case number, when your case is missing, and I'm hoping that you're running the Ombudsman office number on the screen.
No, it's running on the show.
Yes, it will run on the show. And what you'll be able to do is when you raise it immediately, we can tell with precision that this case number is in this court and it is actually at a particular registry. And in that registry, there's an executive officer in charge of that registry and a magistrate who's a deputy registrar in charge of that registry. So we can ask them. Another way we can deal with the disappearance of files is put CCTV.
Before you go to that point, the way you talk, Gladys, is like you actually know these guys who hide these files.
Yes.
You know them. Because we want them arrested tomorrow.
Yes. And that's why we are saying it's
so that the CJ can do his work.
Yes, exactly. Yes. And we said we are employing various methods.
So
Another method
are they
is
going
CCTV.
To be arrested? I have not had an answer from them.
Yes, they will be arrested. And we have actually been, when we have found some, we have taken action against them. We'll also put CCTV cameras in the registries so that we are able to recall back the record and see, because you can see someone picking the file and walking away with it. So there are going to be methods.
Probably another, I don't know, there's a solution or what. Do you have backup? Like if I have a case in the High Court, then one, bad Kenyan who works in the High Court hides it and destroys it. What is my recourse? Does the case start afresh? Do you have backup for these files?
Okay, there had been a program to try and digitize so that have a backup, an electronic copy, but even without that, there is a way under the law, under the regulations, that you can actually have a skeleton file rebuilt. So I've known even as late as last week, there was a file missing. When we heard about it from the Ombudsman's office, we asked the court just reconstructed another file. Remember, there are litigants within the case, so you can reconstruct the file and work on a skeleton file and continue hearing cases. So a case shouldn't stop just because a file has disappeared. It may slow things slightly, but if we can show those people who steal files that we are determined to continue with the case, no matter the disappearance of the file.
Lock those guys up as from tomorrow. But Chief Justice, there's something that has been in the domain for quite a long time. In fact, when I was coming this evening to do this show, my watchman my security guy, I don't know who told him I was going to host you, but he told me, please ask Bwana CJ, is justice meant for the rich in this country, or is it for the poor? Because he says, as a poor man, he doesn't believe he has got justice in the courts.
He is right.
He is right.
Yeah, he's right.
Please tell us more. Why is this the case?
I think that's a basic truth. And unless we accept that, we should not talk about judicial reforms. Because the law itself, as one professor told me, one of my professors who has just died, the last thing he told me is that people, the poor, need justice. Others need the law. Because, The poor people just want justice, and they don't get it in the laws. So I'll be the first to say that there are certain laws that favor the rich, there are certain laws that exploit the poor.
So as a Chief Justice, do you now want to deliver justice to the poor?
Definitely, yes. Definitely, yes. It's part of the... It's part of our reforms. We want to make the judiciary a judiciary for all Kenyans. There are Kenyans who wouldn't want to be anywhere near the courts anyway, or anywhere near a police station. And we want to change that so that they can come to the courts and get justice.
Get justice.
Yeah.
So as we now look forward, you've done a few months, not even a year in the judiciary.
Yeah, 7 months.
7 months now.
Yeah.
If I call you back here after a year, or when do you want me to call you back? When
you call me in 2016 when I'm finishing.
then you'll give us your catalogue of,
yes.
of achievements.
Yes, right.
All right.
But you can call me in, every so often, because I'm sure we'll give you some gains.
All right.
As we move on.
Thank you very much. And that's where the curtains fall for tonight's edition of Agenda Kenya. We want to know your thoughts on this topic or tonight's topic. Do you think the judiciary has capacity? Do you think the judiciary has capacity to deliver justice to all Kenyans? Send your answers to 8898. Feel free to give us your name and where you're watching us from. I thank my panel and my studio audience for that wonderful debate. And we do this again next week. And if you want to get in touch with the judiciary, we've been running email addresses, so you can write to them directly. If you have an issue about the judiciary, you want to complain, you want to make an observation, feel free to get in touch with them. And until next week, bye-bye.